Hi everyone, my name is Pamela Makubela from the STBB local branch. This is my colleague and friend Gretchen from the Bedford View branch.
Hi everyone.
Hi, so welcome to our channel where we speak all things property, where we engage you on all things property, where we just want to enlighten you on all things property so that you know we are all property smart out there.
Agreed. Yes, Pamela, thank you. And I mean, on our previous episode, we gave our viewers out there just a general outline of what private sale agreements should look like. And today, we want to first start off as by way of an introduction to say that when it comes down to breaking down a private sale agreement, there are three main essential terms. So, number one would be your parties, your property, and the consideration that's being paid for the property. And today we're going to just start off by focusing on the parties of the sale agreement.
Yeah. So one of the things, just to start, let's just give you the categories that you commonly find that a seller and a buyer. Number one must be identifiable. Then they must be, clear on who's the buyer, the seller. So you find most common in practice the two types of your parties that may enter. Number one, it may be a natural person, or secondly, it can be a juristic person.
Right, so a natural person would be typically like Pamela and myself, where you act in your own capacity, where you buy or sell your property.
Right. So the second form of that is a juristic person. This is in the instance where you are dealing with a company, you're dealing with a closed corporation, you're dealing with a trust. So the type of entities that cannot really hold the pen.
Agreed. So you would then have to have a resolution in place where all the directors in the example of a company would agree to the transaction and appoint someone to act on its behalf.
So, and so further to that as well, there's also, we see deceased estates forming part of sale agreements.
Right.
So where letters of executorship basically give the right of that executor to act on that behalf.
Right, so the executor is pretty much stepping into the shoes of the deceased. So.
There we go. So those are some of the things that we see in practice. And then obviously coming back to natural persons, just to elaborate on that, we find a lot of them, they may come across as in different ways. One of them that we know is, what's the most common that you've seen, Gretchen?
So Pamela, I mean, it could be that parties are either unmarried or married. So married, we can elaborate on in just a bit. Yeah. But typically in the example where someone is unmarried, they also act on their own. They don't need assistance by anybody else. They simply just enter into the agreement.
Yeah. So delving in already into what you just said about people, another category of natural people is then people that are married. So you can be either married in community of property. And for that means that there is party number one and party number two. They are married in community of property. What that means is that when they enter into a sale agreement with their seller or buyers, they will act as one.
Right, so they've got a joint estate.
Yes.
And they each have an undivided share in that estate and they need each other to act into a sale agreement. And then, the other example would be where people are married out of community of property. So out of community of property is where they've concluded an antenuptial agreement, meaning that I can deal with my own estate independently from my spouse. So typically the one spouse would not have to agree to the other spouse entering into the sale agreement. They act independently.
Yeah, and so we find other forms of marriages. You find marriages concluded in terms of customary law. You find marriages that are concluded in terms of certain rights like Hindu right, Muslim rights. We find certain ones, I think, foreign laws.
Yes, so where someone is married perhaps to the laws of a foreign country, then typically there, depending on whether you're selling or buying, you would also need the assistance of your spouse. But when it comes to marital status in general, it can get a bit tricky. And that's why we want to just invite our viewers out there to phone Pamela or myself. And we would be happy to just advise you on, which spouses would need to be cited, who needs to be assisted by whom, and how it works with a particular marital regime.
Yeah, so we obviously just want to put things just right now it's just a brief description, but what we're basically saying that parties are vital. It's a very clear component. It must be very clearly identified in the sale agreement. So if your circumstance does not necessarily form part of what we discussed today, we're more than happy to take your call. We're more than happy get in contact with us. We are eager to engage you and just keep talking about it. And yeah.
Thank you so much for tuning into our video today, and we look forward to engaging you on property, all things property, with Pam and Gretchen on property. And next week we will be discussing the property. Have a good day. Until next time.
Until next time. Cheersy. Bye.